Konnichiwa from Japan and welcome to the highlight act of FC Bayern Women's Allianz Summer Tour. We are at the NAC 5 Stadium in Saitama as the German Giants get set to take on Red Bull Omiya Ardija. And this is Bayern Women's first ever trip to the land of the rising sun. And after successful summer tours in Louisville in the United States in 2021 and Monterrey in Mexico in 2023. This a special trip for Bayern's women, as in the words of sporting director Bianca Rech, they are looking to boost Bayern's profile in Asia. This a new milestone in the development of this very exciting and successful side. And this, the first pre-season friendly ahead of the start of the 2026-27 campaign. Just a couple of months ago, Bayern were wrapping up a domestic double in Germany. Now they're gearing up to defend both titles. Momoko Tanikawa, of course, a woman that a lot of fans have turned out to see today. Bayern have a star-studded ensemble, but in her homeland, her star will shine a little bit brighter this evening. Temperatures of close to 40 degrees for these players to combat. And that is a wonderful sight to see. A picture worthy of kicking off any pre-season and the start of any campaign. Bayern and their star-studded ensemble, undoubtedly the favourites. Jose Barkala has named a very strong starting lineup as well. Eno Mahmutovic has a new number in goal. She's now the number 1. In front of her, Stina Balizaya, Glodis Vigosdottir, Franziska Kett on the left wing, and we've got a Bayern debut for summer signing Zara Matner. Alara and Tanikawa are in the middle. Barbara Dunst on the right wing. Pernilla Harder playing in the number 10 role. Clara Buhl on the left wing, and Jovana Damjanovic leading the line up front. Damjanovic missing a lot of the back end of last season due to fitness issues, so it's great to see her back in the starting lineup. When it comes to today's hosts, a mixture of old and young in their starting lineup. Yuria Ito, the goalkeeper. A back four of Mihoshi Sugisawa, Ruka Norimatsu, Risa Kanehira, and Mone Sato. Moeno Sakaguchi and Minori Takahashi make up the holding midfield pairing. Ayu Nakada is on the right wing. Meu Hamada is on the left wing. Hanon Nishio is up front, and Mai Karavaki is a familiar face. Katomi Omura is our referee this evening. Glorious conditions for a game of football. Testing conditions, though, for both sets of players. The training sessions have been intense. Glodis with the pre-match pep talk. Bayern ready to go in their first pre-season friendly. Jose Barkala, the head coach, said it was nice to be in Japan, spend this time together as a team. Said the conditions have been great. He said today's friendly is a good opportunity to work on some of their objectives. And he said he's looking forward to his side's first test of what is the start of his second season in charge. Momoko Tanikawa was one of the stars of his first. It set a very high bar, winning the Bundesliga comfortably, defending the DFB Pokal crown as well, and a semi-final berth in the Women's Champions League that fell just short of reaching the final when Bayern lost to Barcelona. But that was, or were, two games of football that proved that Bayern had certainly closed the gap on Europe's elite, and they are not far away from that first ever appearance in a Women's Champions League final. Today, though, the first pre-season friendly ahead of the start of the 26-27 campaign. Bayern, the domestic double winners, the German giants, taking on Red Bull Omiya Ardija. We are in the land of the rising sun, Japan, where Allianz Women have been partaking in the Allianz Summer Tour 2026. They made the 12-hour trip over to Tokyo back on the 21st of July. After getting over the jet lag, they've had a couple of training sessions, some meet and greets, some sponsorship events. Time to take in some of the culture, cuisine that this wonderful country has to offer, and now a bit of a competitive vibe at the end of it all. Zara Matna, one of the summer signings that Bayern have made, the only one in the starting lineup this evening. 23 years old, signed from St. Pölten. 91 appearances, 40 goals for the Austrian team. Interesting backstory as well with Zara Matna. She was born in Vienna, but actually has German and French passports due to her parents. Said that the proximity to home was one of the big reasons that the move to Bayern was so attractive off the pitch. Of course, on the pitch, the chance to win titles, play with some of the best players around, and ultimately be part of a dominant force in German women's football. Well, those are things that tick all the boxes. It was what brought Momoko Tanikawa to the club, and something tells me she's had a wonderful time sharing her homeland with her teammates. Jose Barkler, the head coach, talked about it being very enriching to get to know Momo's culture. Got to think she must have been a wonderful tour guide. Here she is on the ball, Tanikawa. Finding a pass to Glodis Vigostotich. Barbara Dunst. Now Tanikawa. Bayern seeing a lot of the ball early. Omiya so far showing a lot of respect to the visitors, as is to be expected, as Zara Matna looked to wriggle free. Loose ball out and Matna wins it back. Now Alara, back from that knee injury that saw her sidelined for much of last season. Made her comeback right at the end of the campaign after a long spell on the treatment table. One of three big key players for Bayern that picked up ligament tears in the knee last season, along with Zara Zadrazil and Lena Oberdorf. Those two have also made the trip to Japan, but won't be featuring today. They are still working on their recovery, but are in training. Here's Clara Bühl. Alara couldn't quite stretch to take that path in stride, and now there is a counter-attacking opportunity for the hosts. Hanon Nishio trying to assert herself against Glodis, which is not an easy thing to do. Ultimately, too isolated, needed more support there, did Nishio. Yeah, it might be a pre-season friendly, but those sets of players getting stuck in. Challenge there from the captain, Mihoshi Sugisawa, on Pernille Harder. What a season she had. Played such a big role in Bayern winning that domestic double in Germany. She had some highlight moments in a career that's been full of them in the Women's Champions League, and a woman who has committed her future to the club as well. Several big name extensions made by Bayern throughout last season. A couple of big names have left as well. Here's Clara Buhl finding Pernille Harder. A twist and a turn, but couldn't find the space to get the shot off. Bit of risky defending at the back for Omiya, but now Zara Matna will get to the loose ball first, and Bayern will recycle and reset once again with Franziska Kett. The captain setting the tone, but one of the things you always talk about when it comes to pre-season friendlies, one of the biggest priorities for any player, head coach, is ultimately to avoid injury. Jose Barkler is a head coach that wants his side to have a lot of control on the game, especially when they are the heavy favourites like they are in a game like this. Always talked about wanting to be in charge of a team that creates moments that people remember, magic moments, and Momoko Tanikawa has created her fair share of them. Of course, she was an Asian Cup winner with the Japan women's national team at the beginning of the year. She is undoubtedly the star of Japanese women's football. Nice footwork there. The pass looking for Damjanovic from Dunst, and Damjanovic settles for the throw-in. Barbara Dunst, one of the Bayern players that was involved in a challenge at a local 7-Eleven in Japan. A chain of little mini markets that are everywhere you go in the country, and they can offer up some really delectable treats as well. All part of embracing the culture of the land they're visiting. They visited the German embassy as well, Bayern. They've seen the Shibuya crossing, that famous crossroad in the heart of Tokyo. The incredible sight of the foot traffic going in all directions when the lights go green. Almost one of those unheralded mini wonders of the world, the Shibuya crossing, and Tokyo is such a fascinating city. Clash of modern tradition. But the culture is inescapable. all the imperial gardens that are knocking about, the old temples that you can go and visit. And Jose Barcola. I'm not sure he could have picked a better place to start preparations ahead of a season where, after setting a very high bar in his first campaign in charge, one that earned him a contract extension, he built on the foundation that was laid in the 3-year tenure of Alexander Strauss. Certainly wasn't a foregone conclusion either. When he joined the club, he talked about Bayern needing to present themselves as Champions League winners at all times. Said, hopefully they win it soon, with me preferably in the dugout. When he signed his contract extension, he talked about excellence being built through daily habits, through having the courage to challenge yourself to improve on a daily basis, and ultimately wanting Bayern to play the best football. And there is this winning mentality that goes along with the Mia San Mia motto that defines this institution of German football. They have long been the leading and dominant force in the men's game, and now, after an incredible couple of years, they have well and truly usurped Wolfsburg as the best team in the women's game as well. They are the flag bearers now for German women's football in Europe. Wolfsburg on the decline, Bayern are on the rise, but on the back foot. Here is the first shot of the game, goes the way of the home side. Hanon Nishio set her sights and sent it just wide. Clipped the side netting. Mahmutovic looked like she had it covered anyway. Now, Bayern have had all the ball. It's Omiya Ardija with the first real sight of goal of the game. Balizaya brings the ball forward. Bull loses out in the 50-50 and might have been caught as well, because again, that was a bit of a no-nonsense challenge for a pre-season friendly. And again, it's the captain for Omiya Ardija, Mihoshi Sugisawa, who certainly is taking absolutely no prisoners here. Pernilla Harder, Clara Buhl, Franziska Kett have all come off second best, and right now Glaudis has to turn on the afterburners, but gets there ahead of Megu Hamada. Lovely ball out wide from Alara to pick out Matna. Alara gets it back. Such a tidy player. And one of those that you wondered, had she been fit and available against Barcelona in those two legs in the Women's Champions League semi-final, whether Bayern might have just got a different result. The other two, of course, the obvious ones in Lena Oberdorf and Zara Zadrazil. their ability to marshal a midfield was maybe missed against these Spanish giants, but considering the fact that Bayern started their Women's Champions League campaign with a 7-1 defeat to Barcelona, the two legs were a much better showing, as Damjanovic cannot pick out Clara Bühl. Sugisawa with the clearance behind for a corner. First time that Bayern have really gotten into a very dangerous position here. Damjanovic doing well to turn Kanehira. Bühl with the corner, Harder is linking and lurking, and she's there! The first goal of the 26-27 season is scored by the goal scorer supreme, Pernille Harder. They've had to be patient, quarter of an hour played. Didn't have many chances from open play, but the first from a set piece sees the deadlock broken. A little bit scrappy, but Pernille Harder doesn't care how the goals are scored, as long as her name is on the score sheet. "28 goals in 39 games in all competitions last season for Pernille Harder. A fitting first goal scorer of the new campaign. And a goal that might just change the dynamic of this encounter. Bayern certainly the favourites, but not forcing the issue. Something tells me that's not quite what Omiya were looking to achieve from kickoff. All the way behind for a goal kick. Well, the history of the Japanese top tier of women's football dates back to 1998, but it only really turned professional in 2021. It was a couple of years later that Omiya were taken over by Red Bull as they became part of a global footballing network. One that, of course, involves RB Leipzig in the Frauen Bundesliga. And there is a former Leipzig player in the starting lineup for Omiya today, Mai Karawaki. We are yet to see much from the number 20, though. Because so far, it has not been a game boasting a lot of attacking output for the home side. Maybe now that they've conceded, they'll come out of their shell a little bit more. Oh, that's a lovely ball and a well-timed run from Damjanovic. She's through on goal to make it 2-0 with a quick-fire double. Oh, Jovana Damjanovic denied by Yuria Ito. Just took one touch too many there, the Serbian striker, and disappointed that she did not double Bayern's advantage. With the exception of the finish, that move was played to perfection. She was onside, even if she had just crossed the halfway line, and the pass was timed and weighted brilliantly by Pernille Harder. And you can see what Damjanovic is trying to do, just poke it under the on-rushing Ito. but the ball just squirmed beyond the reach of her toes, and as a result didn't really get the purchase she needed on the shot to make it 2-0. Here she's found Momoko Tanikawa though. Licensed to roam, finds Boole. Boole shaping up for the shot, it's off the bar. Loose ball won by Bayern. They've scored the opening goal, now there's a bit of blood in the water. Sensed by a Bayern side that can be ruthless. Almost a trademark effort there from Clara Boole. Such a gifted footballer, can strike so well with both feet, takes corners from both sides with both feet. So it's hard to say that she has a trademark effort because she can do a little bit of everything. But if she had one, it would be cutting in off that left wing onto that right foot and curling one to the far corner. Looking to turn provider, and Harder is there, but heads wide. Now that should have been her second goal. Unmarked, no one tracked the run. Yeah, she is human after all. Forgivable in the context of a pre-season friendly, but she'll be the first to say that she should have scored there. 98 appearances for Bayern since joining from Chelsea back in 2023. 64 goals, but beyond her goal-scoring output, her influence on this Bayern side has been immense. She is someone that really has brought in that winning mentality. The belief that no defeat is ever a good thing. And that ultimately, titles are what seasons are judged by, and she is a perennial title winner, Pernille Harder. Now Boole with a bit of space, Harder inside of her. Boole taking on Sugisawa. Cross blocked. The piece is picked up, but lost in the end, and oh well, Dunst went diving in. Got a lot of the woman before she got the ball, but no foul given by the referee. Here is Barbara Dunst. She'd like to make a big impression in pre-season and stake a claim for more minutes in the coming campaign. She lost the ball, but it's won back well by Franziska Kett. 2 for company. Now here's Kadavaki. Nice run being made by Nishio. And fed. Mahmutovic is off her line. Nishio! Well, she's had both of Omiya's chances so far. Hanon Nishio. Similar efforts, similar part of the pitch. The first hit the side netting, the second drifts just over that top corner. But the warning shot that Omiya do have ways to deal damage to this Bayern side as we now take a hydration break. Temperature might have dropped a few degrees, but earlier it was 38 degrees in the shade. Certainly testing and taxing conditions for a game of football. And as a result, you can see a lot of wet towels around the necks, lots of water being taken on. Player welfare is certainly taken a lot more seriously nowadays. And hydration breaks were all the rage at the Men's World Cup. For now, let's take a look back at the only goal so far. Harder tried to be provider in the end, had to be finisher. She's very comfortable in both roles. She slots home the first goal of pre-season. first, I'm sure, of many to come. Jose Barcola talked about wanting his side to hit some of their objectives, work on some of their objectives in this game. Ultimately, only he'll be able to tell you whether that's actually happening out on the pitch or not. But so far, what we've seen, 25 minutes played. Bayern with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Pernille Harder. Two other big opportunities to extend their advantage. One missed by Damjanovic, one missed by Pernille Harder herself as well. Bayern with so much control, dominating possession. For the most part, Red Bull Omiya are chasing shadows, of which long ones are being cast now with the sun setting in the land of the rising sun. As Bühl is played into space, Damjanovic, Dunst make their way into the middle, and Bühl can't pick out either of them. Again, the clearance from Omiya Adija, giving the ball straight back to Bayern, which is never a well-advised approach to a game of football. This is a Bayern side that broke all sorts of goal-scoring records last season, both club records and league records in the Frauen Bundesliga. 90 scored in Germany's top flight, 132 scored in all competitions. The previous record held by Bayern at club level was 121 goals they scored in the 2020-21 campaign. Stunning output, of course, helped by a run to the Women's Champions League semi-finals, helped by an expansion in the Frauen Bundesliga to 14 teams. Nevertheless, very impressive numbers put up by Pernille Harder and company, and she, of course, was the top goal scorer with 28 of those 132 goals scored. Temporarily down to 10 women, with Alara just needing a bit of extra strapping on the ankle, it looks like. Ket steals a step on Power. Give her a chance at a real highlight moment in her home country. Right now, that was a chance to move the ball vertically for Omiya, and they tried to, but it trickled all the way through to Ina Mahmutovic in the end. Sugisawa, the captain this time, gets the ball to feet, but she's got Clara Bühl for company. Bühl wasn't letting her wriggle free at all. Now Damjanovic with a chance to drive the ball forward. Bühl finds Tanikawa. Tahara touched on to Damjanovic, who can't get the final and vital touch, squeezed out at the last on the half-hour mark. The whistle went anyway, suggesting that the flag had gone up against the Serbian. She is the type of player that it doesn't matter whether it's a pre-season friendly or a Champions League final, she takes no prisoners. She will not give up on a single loose ball. She got the touch there, but again, like her earlier chance, a little too close to the goalkeeper, Yuria Ito, and as a result, the touch can't squeeze under the body of the Omiya shot stopper. A couple of moments where she's had to be brave to keep the scoreline respectable at 1-0. Ket had the beat. Nishio. Two. Something worth noticing, with just over half an hour played now at the NAC 5 Stadium in Saitama, is that off the ball you can tell that Bayern are doing a lot of man marking, or woman marking I should say. You can tell in particular out wide when, as you can see now, Clara Bühl, I shouldn't make the point now because Bayern are on the ball, but when they're off the ball, Bühl is tracking a runner, and if that runner goes beyond Franziska Ket, it doesn't matter. She doesn't stop tracking the run. She follows, Ket stays on her woman. The same is happening on the right wing with Barbara Dunst and Zara Matner. And I just wonder whether that's a slight development in Jose Barkla's game plan, as it's given away by Tanikawa and the shot fizzed in. Well, that is now a hat-trick of chances for Hanon Nishio. And unfortunately, she is still yet to actually hit the target, despite on all three occasions striking the ball really well. Mahmutovic is still yet to make a save, but all the goal-scoring opportunities for the hosts are going the way of their number 9. Ket was caught late, but the play went on. Damjanovic found Matner, who then did really well under pressure to find an outlet pass. Ket's now back to her feet as Tanikawa, who's had her pocket picked on a couple of occasions in the last couple of minutes, moves the ball on a little bit quicker. Oh, given away. Ket's pass finds its way to Kadavaki, but Ket recovers the situation. In fairness, Kadavaki had absolutely no support when she really needed it. Those are the types of moments that Jose Barcola will not want to see, and I have no doubt will not have been in his pre-match objectives. Early changes at the ready. Alara, we saw her nursing a bit of a knock to the ankle earlier. She's going to be replaced by Ella Rauscher, who's a 16-year-old Austrian prospect making her Bayern debut. Signed from St. Pölten in Germany's neighbouring country. Hailed as one of the biggest young talents that Austrian women's football has to offer, and that's why Bayern have secured her services. Magdalena Eriksson, meanwhile, is on for Stina Balizaya, and given the temperatures, I'm not surprised to see an early substitution. Jose Barker, I have a feeling, will be managing a lot of minutes this evening in Saitama. Lovely to see Rauscher make her debut, though, and a nice early first touch there. Type of game where she can really build a bit of confidence. Looking for the 1-2, didn't quite make that work with her former St. Pölten teammate, Sarah Mattner, though it's worth noting Rauscher, at 16 years old, never made her senior debut before joining Bayern. Sugisawa gets the cross in. And it might work out here for Kadowaki. First shot on target of the game for Red Bull. Omiya Ardija goes the way of the former Leipzig player, Mai Kadowaki. In the end, a tame effort. Comfortable save for Ena Mahmutovic, Bayern's new number one. Not just in terms of status, but in terms of the number on the back of her kit as well. Former number one, Marla Gross, one of 4 significant departures in the Bayern ranks this summer. Marla Gross has joined Women's Champions League record title holders OL Lyon. Caroline Simon, another big loss, returning to her former club Bayer Leverkusen, where she first broke through in women's football. As the headline on the Bayern website went, she had a left foot that defined an era. 7 years with the club, and she was part of the project. She was one of those players that had the quality early, that really believed in what Bayern wanted to achieve. She played her part in those achievements. She left as a legend. Here's Barbara Dunst. Twisting, turning, Barbara Dunst. Looked for Damjanovic. Didn't work out. Rauscher gets the ball first. Quite the right decision made there by the young Austrian, but he wasn't going to give up on the situation. Got the challenge in on Monet Sato. Lovely touch there by Clara Buhl. She is one of the most delightful footballers to watch in the world game. She's got goals, she's got assists, she can beat you one-on-one. She doesn't overcomplicate things. She doesn't have these big flair moments. But what she does do, she does so well to a world-class standard. Kind of excited. Mia forward here. Hamada trying to take on Glodis. Zara Mattner does well to provide support. Cheeky backheel pass to the Bayern captain, Glodis Vigolsdottir. Mattner playing at right back today. Julie Gvin has made the trip to Japan, but is still working her way back from a elective shoulder operation in the summer. As Hamada, lovely bit of play. The shot straight at Ena Mahmutovic, but a moment to catch the eye for Meigu Hamada. Two players that didn't make the trip to Japan. Vanessa Gilles, who's nursing a muscular injury. And the other is Bernadette Armani, who is currently representing the Ivory Coast, for whom she is the captain at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Buhl and Damjanovic not on the same wavelength at all. What a piece of play from Nishio. Mahmutovic read the danger well. That was just brilliant bit of play by Hanon Nishioi. Had to stand strong there against the challenge. Now she's on the run again. The ball not forthcoming. Sato. Tried to take on a little too much there in the one-on-one situation with one of the best centre-backs in women's football. Glodis Perla Vigosdottir. So graceful. Runs like a Rolls Royce out on a football pitch. Speed, presence, leadership, she's got it all. Another of those players, along with Pernilla Harder, who has committed her future to the club after signing an extension during last season. Harder, Eriksson, Glodis, Sadrazil, Linda Dahlmann. Those are the big names, along with Momoko Tanikawa, who committed her long-term future to the club, penning a deal until 2029. Said she can't wait for what the next few years hold with her and Bayern. And she's getting a lot of touches of the ball, Momoko Tanikawa. No real highlight moment for this home crowd to get behind, but now Damjanovic, can she make it 2-0 before half-time? Tried to be cheeky with the effort, but stood up well by Risa Kanehira. Hasn't been her afternoon in front of goal, Jovana Damjanovic, and you can tell, given the fact that she didn't get a lot of competitive action at the back end of last season due to injury. Even a pre-season friendly in these conditions. Unrelenting heat. Merciless heat. And a few hands on knees. Something tells me Damjanovic might be one of those players that gets a substitution at half-time. I'm sure Jose Barkla will dip into his options on the bench. Alsha gave the ball away. She's intent on winning it back. Sugisawa, chance to cross again. They've got numbers in the box here, but the cross too close to Ena Mahmutovic. Rauscher does well to win it back. Tanikawa flitting between the lines. That is ultimately where she does her best work. Little touches, linking up the play. When she feels the opportunity to turn towards goal, that's when she can really provide the threat. 13 goals in all competitions last season. Harder now to Dunst. Dunst to Matna. Rauscher looking for that first time clip round the corner, but she had time and space to take a touch there. A youngster that is clearly keen to catch the eye, but doesn't need to overdo it, doesn't need to force the issue. She was one of the stars of the Under-17 European Championships. 3 goals, 1 assist for Austria. Now it's with Megu Hamada. She's been a danger woman on that left wing for Omiya. She's going to go for goal again. And she has now tested Mahmutovic on a couple of occasions. But shots from range leading to bread and butter saves for Ena Mahmutovic, who has an incredible record as a Bayern goalkeeper. 26 clean sheets in 50 appearances in all competitions, 41 goals conceded in those 50 games, so less than a goal a game. And then it's also worth pointing out that of those 41 goals that Ena Mahmutovic has conceded, 12 of those goals were conceded against Barcelona last season. The ball working its way through to Megu Hamada. Marshalled well by Zara Matna. No indication of added time, but a chance maybe for Omiya right on the stroke of half-time. Doesn't sit up. An awkward bounce of the ball. Sugisawa, back into the mix it goes. Commanding header by Glodis Vigostotich. Ket looking to turn the corner with a turn of pace and sandwiched between two Omiya players. Earns the free kick. I have to say, for a pre-season friendly, there have been some robust tackles in the opening half of this encounter in Saitama. Good first test for Bayern in pre-season so far. Rauscher. Another moment where she just gives the ball away. Omiya, I think, sense a little bit of vulnerability with the 16-year-old. Hearing that 3 minutes of time were added on, I'm assuming that the majority of those 3 minutes were due to the hydration break we had. So we haven't had a lot of stoppages, just one goal to speak of. That ball picked off well by Dunst. Maybe there's one last chance in the first half for Bayern as Buhl has space to work with. Damjanovic to her right. Clara Buhl setting up Damjanovic to make it 2-0. And on the stroke of half-time, Damjanovic gets her goal. Bayern double their advantage. A good showing so far in Saitama for Jose Barcola, who, having spent most of the first half dominating possession and having control, score a goal courtesy of a well-executed counter-attack to wrap up proceedings in the first half. Happy days for the German Giants. And it is half-time at the NAC 5 Stadium. The last kick of the first half sees Bayern double their advantage to a 2-0 lead in their first pre-season friendly. Momoko Tanikawa has been running the show. Will she have a chance at a highlight in the second half? Something for the home crowd to look forward to. For now, we will leave you with a few clips from pre-season. A look behind the open training session, how things are going at the Sportpark Unterhaching, and a trip to Jovana Damjanovic's cafe. Enjoy.
Man hat schon vermisst, den Ball am Fuß zu haben und ja, wieder die Mädels zu sehen, den ganzen Staff wieder weiter an den Dingen zu arbeiten und ja, deswegen Vorfreude sehr groß und jetzt happy, dass wir wieder hier sind.
it's great because you see the new faces in the staff, new faces also in the squad, new energy, but same identity, same standards, same quality on the pitch. Just reconnect again with the standards, with the relationship with the ball, the skills, the basic tactical behaviors, and just get an introduction into the, the efforts and the dynamic of the team.
Mir hat Spaß gemacht, sind ein paar neue Gesichter dabei, aber alle sehr, sehr lieb, sehr, sehr freundlich. Ich glaube, passen alle super in unsere Mannschaft. Und ja, hat einfach wieder Spaß gemacht, Fußball zu spielen.
Ja, der Platz ist gut und vom Niveau auch anders als sonst, finde ich, weil sonst war die erste Einheit immer so ein bisschen verstolpert und das fand ich heute eigentlich gar nicht, deswegen hat es richtig Spaß gemacht. Hat mich gefreut, alle Leute wieder zu sehen, auch die neuen Spielerinnen. Ich glaube, es wird eine ganz coole Saison.
It was really good because you can see from the day one that the standards are there. Of course, the players always need a few days to bring back the coordination, the perception skills, the cognitive setup. But yeah, very happy because it's always a pleasure to coach them.
Ja, ich glaube, wir haben wieder viele coole Sachen in der Vorbereitung, viele Dinge, an denen wir wieder arbeiten wollen. Natürlich kommt dann auch Japan dazu, worauf wir uns auch schon sehr freuen. Ich glaube, wird eine interessante Reise, auch für uns mal was Neues. Ja, ich will natürlich meine Leistung weiter so halten, mich in jedem Bereich noch verbessern. Also man kann sich stetig verbessern. Jeder hat so viel Potenzial und ich speziell will noch der Mannschaft, ich will noch mehr Verantwortung übernehmen. Ich will noch mehr der Mannschaft auf dem Platz auch helfen, noch mein Coaching verbessern, ja, und mich natürlich auch im Torwartbereich in jeder Stelle noch weiterentwickeln.
Yeah, fantastic, really exciting, really looking forward to this trip. We need to work, it's the second week, so we can give a step up in intensity, introducing also more content in training, and excited to play with Omiya Red Bull, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
So the standards set in pre-season training with Jose Barcola. Bayern this coming campaign will have a new home in the Women's Champions League, when the doors will open to the Sportpark Unterhaching for Bayern's women's side for the first time. A stadium that holds over 15,000. They'll move in by 2029, but this season it will just be in Europe. Let's take a look at how things are getting on at the Sportpark Unterhaching.
Wir sind heute hier, weil wir uns alle gemeinsam freuen auf das Eröffnungsspiel unserer Frauen FC Bayern gegen Paris am 9.8. Und wir wollten einfach mal die Medien abholen und sagen, okay, wo sind wir hergekommen, wo sind wir heute, wo sind wir in der nächsten Zukunft und vielleicht auch in der übernächsten.
Ich freue mich ehrlich gesagt schon auf diese ersten Schritte, die wir hier gemeinsam machen. Sprich die ersten Spiele, die wir hier absolvieren, aber auch auf die Fans, wie sie es annehmen. Und darauf bin ich sehr, sehr gespannt. Ich freue mich aber auch darauf, weil wir hier im Süden von München auch die Möglichkeit haben, auch neue Fans vielleicht zu gewinnen. Wir haben eine viel größere Zuschauerzahl.
Wir haben den Mannschaftsbereich ertüchtigt. Wir werden das Ballfangnetz auswechseln. Und eine große Herausforderung war sicherlich der Wechsel des Flutlichts, weil es nicht von der Stärke her unseren Anspruch erfüllt hat, vor allem die Ansprüche der UEFA. Aber zum Zweiten wir auch unbedingt auf eine nachhaltige LED-Technik wechseln wollten.
Es gibt einen neuen Rasen. Ich bin mir relativ sicher, dass wir das in den nächsten 2 Wochen gut hinbekommen.
Und zu den Mannschaftsbänken, ich verstehe die Forderung der UEFA, dass wir einfach damit jetzt weiter wegrücken müssen. So viel hier und jetzt geht's hoch in den VIP-Bereich.
Viele von euch waren ja schon mal im FC Bayern Campus, kennen auch vielleicht in Anführungszeichen den VIP-Raum. Wir wissen alle eigentliche Besprechungsräume, die wir uns zwar zu Nutzen machen. Das wird hier auch ein großer Schritt werden, um A, mehr Gäste empfangen zu können, aber auch nochmal auf einem ganz anderen Level und Standard.
Von 2026 bis 2029 ist der Fokus auf dem Neubau des Leistungszentrums, was dann die Frauen mit Büros und allem drum und dran im Sommer 2029 beziehen werden, und auf den Umbau der Trainingsplätze.
Das Ziel eben ist, hier komplett im Sommer 2029 einzuziehen, vor der EM in Deutschland, und wir eben mit der kompletten Frauendirektion hier rausziehen können, mit allen Mannschaften, mit weiblichen Mannschaften, und hier unsere neue Heimat finden. Und es wird wie eine neue Ära. Wir werden hier sehr, sehr professionell auf allerhöchstem Niveau arbeiten können und eine Infrastruktur vorfinden mit einem Leistungszentrum, mit einem anhängenden Stadion, und das ist schon auch sehr unique.
Der Kauf des Sportparks ergibt nur Sinn, wenn wir einen Platz haben für unsere Frauen, wo wir deren neue Heimat bauen können. Und das ist genau dieses Grundstück der Stockschützenhalle, deswegen haben wir das zusätzlich käuflich erworben.
Es ist wichtig, die Spielerinnen eben jetzt auch mitzunehmen in diesem Prozess, was hier genau passiert, was wir hier vorhaben, wie dann auch das Leistungszentrum aussehen kann, damit die Spielerinnen viel mehr verstehen, was passiert.
Das ist so ein bisschen Goldgräberstimmung. Und diese Goldgräberstimmung, die genieße ich, die hatte ich auch in meinem Berufsleben zum Glück schon mehrfach, dass ich bei Null anfangen durfte. Und hieraus etwas zu entwickeln, erfreut mich unglaublich.
Wenn man den ersten Tag hier war und ich sag mal, das Stadion vorgefunden hat und man sieht eben die Dinge und den Prozess, der jetzt läuft, was alles angepackt worden ist, macht halt viel Vorfreude.
Preparations are well underway for the Sportpark Unterhaching to be ready to host the games for Bayern's women's side, and ultimately a capacity crowd for that opening Women's Champions League match will certainly be a sight to see. The first game at the stadium will be on August 9th when Bayern's women take on Paris FC. The French side. Tickets are on sale. Of course, there will be coverage of that on FC Bayern TV Plus as well. For now, one last clip to show you during halftime as a couple of Bayern members got the chance to go to Jovana Damjanovic's 9 Fine Roastery and Bar, the cafe that the coffee lover has opened in Munich's Hirschgarten precinct of the city. She is passionate about her coffee like she's passionate about her football. She scored to make it 2-0 on the stroke of half-time. But let's get a behind-the-scenes look at the members' visit to the 9 Fine Roastery and Bar.
Wir sind heute hier im 9 Fine Roastery im Café von Jovi Damjanovic, und wir wollen eigentlich unseren Mitgliedern zeigen, wie selbstbestimmt toll unsere Frauen ihren Weg gehen können, und haben daher aus 290 beworbenen Mitgliedern 30 ausgewählt, die sie heute persönlicher kennenlernen können.
Ich will mich erst vom Herzen bedanken, dass ihr heute da seid, und ich freue mich, dass so viele Leute sich beworben haben. Und ich freue mich einfach auf die gemeinsame Zeit mit euch. Ich hoffe, wir können alle dann Spaß haben hier. Ihr könnt euch entspannen. Es wird alles gut. Kaffee ist meine zweite Leidenschaft. Schon von zu Hause hatte meine Mama in so ein kleines Café, und da war ich immer so vor der Schule, nach der Schule. Und klar, da habe ich 2020 mein Kreuzband gerissen und habe mir gedacht, boah, jetzt muss ich mir was Schönes gönnen. Und dann habe ich mir erst eine Siebträgermaschine gekauft. Und so hat das Ganze angefangen. Zum Glück, die Interesse war da, die Leute haben es genossen. Und dann ein Jahr später haben wir gesagt, ey, guck, wir probieren einen Ort in München zu finden, wo die Leute einfach vor Ort unser Kaffee testen können. Und ja, jetzt sind wir hier.
Also es ist super wichtig, dass unsere Frauen hier selbstbestimmt zeigen, wie man ihren eigenen Weg findet und auch gehen kann und wie man sich vor allem ein zweites Standbein aufbaut und sich selbst verwirklicht neben dem Platz. Und vor allem freuen wir uns drauf, sie heute noch mal persönlicher kennenzulernen. Und es ist wahnsinnig toll, die Nahbarkeit so vermittelt zu bekommen wie von Jovi.
Ich wollte was anders machen. Ich wollte, dass die Leute hier reinkommen, dass die Platz haben, dass die es genießen können, dass es nicht alles so steril ist, weiß, grau, sondern ich wollte ein bisschen ja, einfach Farbe und Leben ja, einfach hier haben.
Also ich finde, der FC Bayern macht es großartig, wenn man bedenkt, dass man ja über 400.000 Mitglieder schon haben. Und ein persönlicher Kontakt ist natürlich immer wichtig.
Ich finde es klasse, dass der Verein ja, so nahbar ist und ja, mir gefällt es sehr gut.
Also meine Erwartungen sind vollends erfüllt worden, ehrlich gesagt. Und Jovi ist echt, also echt sympathisch.
Das Familiäre, das nicht Abgehobene und das Zusammensein mit den Stars und dass mir auch andere Fans trifft, die man auch schon auf dem Campus gesehen hat. Und es ist alles ganz nahbar. Und so soll auch Bayern bitte bleiben.
Kaffee vor dem Spiel?
Ja, sehr gerne. Alexis, unsere Frau vor alle, sage ich, vorbereitet dann immer so einen Filterkaffee. Und bei uns ist es so, sie und Thomas, unser Kit-Manager, sind immer ein bisschen früher da und dann, wenn wir zur Kabine kommen, wir begrüßen die, dann hat sie schon eine Tasse Kaffee in Hand, wir umarmen uns, sie gibt mir den Kaffee und da kann ich alles Weiteres machen, da gehe ich in die Kabine, gucke, wie es auf dem Platz. So deswegen laufe ich immer eigentlich vor dem Spiel auf dem Platz mit einer Tasse Kaffee, weil es ist auch, ich glaube, ich muss auch sagen, so Glücksbringer, so Tradition und wir wollen es auch nichts ändern.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. You're joining us here on FC Bayern TV+. James Surrogate, your match commentator, extending the warmest of welcomes to you for what is the first pre-season friendly ahead of the 26-27 campaign for Bayern's women. They are currently enjoying the Allianz Women's Summer Tour that has taken them to the land of the rising sun, the wonderful country of Japan, where they have been beginning their pre-season preparations in earnest while also raising the profile of a club that has a worldwide fan base. And today this is the highlight act of the summer tour as they are taking on RB Omiya Ardija at the NAC 5 Stadium here in Saitama. And they currently boast a 2-0 lead as we are getting ready for the start of the second half. You can see that the wind has really picked up, which suddenly tells me the players won't be too unhappy about, given the fact that we have had scorching temperatures all day in Japan. And the players have been feeling the effects, but there's still, as there so often is, a smile etched on the face of Momoko Tanikawa, almost like a grinning assassin in the Bayern midfield ranks. The first goal scored by her close friend and mentor, Pernilla Harder. Second goal scored by Jovana Damjanovic, who we just saw the feature on her 9 Fine Roastery and Bar, and her second passion, as she calls it, for coffee. Couple of changes to tell you about at half-time for Bayern. Zara Matner has made way for Linda Dahlmann. Jovana Damjanovic has made way for Edna Imade. And Franziska Kett is replaced by Katharina Naschenweng at left back. So Dahlmann looks like she's going to be lining up on the right wing with Barbara Dunz now on the ball, operating at right back. Certainly not her most natural position. The Austrian is certainly a winger by trade. Wonderful atmosphere being made at the NAC 5 Stadium, it has to be said. Really drumming things up, the home crowd. A wonderful showing with Bayern in town. And Bayern are certainly taking this friendly very seriously. They want dominance, they want control, and that's what they're getting. Pernille Harder looking to turn. Dunst. Tanikawa can't clip it back to Barbara Dunst, but it's won back quickly by Magdalena Eriksson. That was certainly a feature of the first half, and ultimately a feature of last season as well for Bayern under Jose Barkala. Ball recovery time. Something they pride themselves on. Hamada. Tanikawa under pressure. Finds a pass to Harder, who clips it towards Dunst. Hamada gets there first. Back to Norimatsu it goes. Looking for the long raking pass, and what a ball it is. Iwashita. Shot blocked by Tanikawa, pass not offside. Shot comes in, it's off the knee of Eriksson. It was Makino with the follow-up effort there after Iwashita saw her initial shot charge down as well. Moments like that have to be taken with a pinch of salt from Bayern's perspective, because of course those are the types of vulnerabilities that Jose Barkala and company will be looking to iron out as they prepare for the start of the new season. And a big question that lingers over the Frauen Bundesliga. It's not Bayern's to answer, but it's who can challenge them. Also worth pointing out, I don't think I mentioned the final of the 4 changes that Bayern made at half-time, because Regina van Eyck has also come on, the goalkeeper, signed from Ajax in the summer. Ena Mahmutovic is given a reprieve for the second half after making a handful of saves in the first half. Van Eyck is a 24-year-old goalkeeper who made 114 appearances for Ajax. Hasn't made an appearance for the Dutch national team, though has been called up once. That first call-up coming back in April of this year. She's talked about her desire to get the best out of herself with Bayern. She is now the backup for Mahmutovic, with Marla Gross leaving to join OL Lyon. Caro Simon joining Leverkusen. Georgia Stanway, a huge departure, joining Arsenal. Natalia Padilla-Binas also leaving the club. They move to Tenerife. Those are the departures for Bayern. We've now seen Zara Matner in action. We've seen Regina van Eyck between the sticks. She might be tested here. Shot deflected. It's going to go behind for a corner. Magdalena Eriksson doing her defensive duties, putting body between ball and goal to block the shot by Minami Munakata. Yeah, they've certainly got the courage to try and shoot from range. The home side, Red Bull Omiya, even if they're not carving out clear-cut opportunities. The home fans getting behind Omiya as the corner comes in. Lovely play. Cross comes in. Cleared by Glodis. Omiya throwing more caution to the wind now in this second half. They've got nothing to lose, 2-0 down. They've got everything to gain. This is nice play by the home side. Cross goes low. Picked off by Tanikawa. Buhl invites a little bit more pressure on Katharina Naschenbeng. The outlet pass is straight out for a throw-in. Space for Bayern to work with. Daumann, the pass from Ella Rauscher. Needed more on it. "16 years old, these are the lessons that she's going to have to learn. It's all about not just decision making, but execution. She made the right decision. The execution of the pass was ultimately what let her down, because otherwise Linda Daumann would have had a nice run through on goal. But Tanikawa now with a chance to charge. Tanikawa to Buhl. Clara Buhl, 2 for company. Cross blocked, corner won by Bayern. Clara Buhl with the corner. Magdalena Eriksson heads just wide at the back post. A first real goal-scoring opportunity that Bayern have had in the second half, and Magdalena Eriksson is certainly a player that can pose a real threat from set-piece situations. They've given it away cheaply here, Omiya. Tanikawa with her chance. Back to goal, can she turn, get the shot off, free kick won. She'll settle for that. A chance to maybe have a go at goal herself from the set piece. Momoko Tanikawa or Clara Buhl. Wonderful technicians in their own right, but something tells me Clara Buhl will know that this is Momo's moment. Can she take it? Tanikawa, it's into the wall. She gets it back. First time volley is punched clear. Didn't really have the power to go with the precision. Glodis, nice ball down the line to Daumann. One of the half-time substitutes, fresh legs, but well defended in the end. Now one of those free kicks where so close to the edge of the area, it has to be so delicate to get it up and over the wall and then down in time to find the back of the net. Tanikawa undoubtedly has that in her locker, but she's won it back well here. Clara Buhl now. Clara Buhl, heavy touch. Goal kick to Omiya. Daumann. Oh, she asked a lot there of Ella Rauscher. Bayern again with a chance to come forward. Naschenweng. Oh, yes! A lovely left-footed finish that lashes into the far corner. Bayern add a third goal to what now looks to be an unassailable lead. Naschenweng, well, the defending was questionable. The finish was not. Like a laser into that far corner. I don't think Ruka Norimatsu will want to watch the highlight back, given how easy she made it for the Austrian. And Bayern right now cruising to a comfortable victory in their first pre-season friendly. Jose Barcola can have few complaints. Plenty of positives to talk about. And I'm sure now with the third goal and the hour mark approaching, we'll see a few more substitutions in the offing as well. Because this will all be about getting minutes, getting a bit of game time under the belt, brushing off those cobwebs that might have developed a little bit in the summer. A bit of a loose back pass, Van Eyck just about got there, but the chance is brewing. Unable to cook anything up there. Now Edna Imade. She made a big impact. Perhaps bigger than many expected in the second half of last season. Pernille Harder given license to roam. That's always dangerous. Pernille Harder so close to weaving her way through the entire Omiya backline. In the end, that last touch just allowed Minami, Imamura from diving at her feet to snuff out the opportunity. In case you are just joining us here on FC Bayern TV+, Bayern's Women taking part in the highlight act of the summer tour. And after going to the United States in 2021, going to Mexico in 2023, they came to Tokyo this summer to boost the profile, help the team bond ahead of the start of the new season, generate and cater to a new and growing fan base in Asia, where women's football is on the rise. And Momoko Tanikawa is a key part of that. It's a lovely turn in midfield there, but a slip on the ball that just cost her. For Bayern, with the exception of a couple of shots from long range from Red Bull Omiya, it's been a relatively comfortable afternoon in testing temperatures and testing conditions. First goal scored by Pernille Harder. Omiya failed to clear a corner, and Harder, having tried to turn provider at first, turned finisher instead. It's a nice ball forward, but Dunst, good challenge when it was really needed. Jovana Damjanovic then added a second goal for Bayern on the stroke of half-time, before Katharina Naschenweng made it 3-0 just moments ago. Downman with a bit of a tumble. In the end, it turned out to be a good tackle. Edna Imade, the target for the pass from Auscher. Edna Imade, who was signed by Bayern at the start of last season, but it wasn't until halfway through the campaign that she featured for the club. She was signed from Granada, but spent the first half of the campaign on loan with Real Sociedad. And then it was when Lea Schüller left Bayern to join Manchester United that Imade was drafted in as Dalman, now clipping it over the head of Clara Bühl. Another handful of alterations to be made by Jose Barcola. A chance for Momoko Tanikawa to receive some applause from the home stadium. It's a shame that she didn't really get her highlight moment. That free kick we had at the start of this second half was the closest she came. She had some nice moments in midfield where she won the ball well, flitted between the lines, was that driving creative force we know she can be, linking up with the likes of Damjanovic, Harder, Bühl and Dunst. But she didn't really have her moment to shine. Ultimately, that's not what this pre-season friendly is about anyway, but it would have been nice for Momoko Tanikawa to give us a little sprinkling of the magic we know she can bring to a football pitch. Nevertheless, I'm sure a lovely moment for her in a Bayern kit. Just to keep you appraised of the alterations for Bayern. Tanikawa has come off for Ariana Caruso. Clara Bühl has come off for another of the summer signings, making her first appearance in a Bayern kit. Cassandra Pozzi, the young winger signed from relegated SGS Essen. She has taken the bold move of choosing the number 6 as her kit number. There she is, the 18-year-old, a very talented footballer. She showed it on many an occasion with SGS Essen, but there's a lot of polishing that needs to be done with Cassandra Pozzi to get her up to scratch to Bayern standards. But 18 years old, someone that made their debut at the age of 16. Bayern see the potential and want to help her meet it. Elsewhere, it's worth noting that Alara and Stina Balizaya have both come back onto the pitch, having earlier been substituted, so rolling substitutions will have been a pre-match agreement between these two sides. Dunst to Dalman. Alara working it in tight spaces. Alara so deft at just shielding the ball. Dalman. Caruso. Back to Balizaya. Now Dunst. Dunst just crowded out. Question is, can Omiya do anything with it now? Well, the answer at the end of that pass from Yuna Takahashi is no. Takahashi delivers into the box, loose ball, and the volley from Munakata was always slicing wide. They have had their chances, Red Bull Omiya, but I don't think a single one could be classified as a clear-cut opportunity. And I would venture a guess that every single shot they've had has been from outside the Bayern box. Maybe with the exception of one in the first half from Hanon Nishio. For now, it's another hydration break halfway through the second half. Another chance for Jose Barcola to share some instructions with his players. A head coach that is very involved in the game on the sidelines. He is constantly tweaking things, in constant communication with his players. We get to take a look at that lovely strike from Katharina Naschenweng. I mean, talk about putting your laces through it. The ball did not move an inch in the air. Laser guided into the side of the net. Fortunately for Bayern, right side of the post. Their first goal of the second half, their third of the game, putting themselves in a very comfortable position indeed. But they were the heavy favourites coming into this game. They have played in a way that has underlined that status. And while the home crowd have had little to cheer about when it comes to their own team, they have seen some highlight moments from some of the star-studded cast that Bayern boast. Nothing short of defending their domestic double will be enough for Bayern in the 26-27 campaign. And the question is whether they can maybe go one better in the Women's Champions League, as Dunst gets caught wrong side of her opponent there, Yuna Takahashi. Very tight call, but the flag did go up against Takahashi. As a result, the ball goes Bayern's way and not that of Omiya. It's a side that finished 7th in Japan's top tier last season, their best ever league finish since turning pro back in 2021. 27 points, 6 wins, 9 draws, 7 losses, 24 goals scored, 28 conceded. But today a chance to take on some of the best women's players in the world. Something tells me they'll have taken a lot from this game, even if the result has gone against them quite decidedly. Dalman battling away in the 50-50. Player whose experience in the Bayern ranks is so important, added another year to her deal in Munich last season. What a campaign she had as well. Oh, Takahashi. Good cross. Oh, it's a goal for Omiya! The home side have something to celebrate. It was Yuna Takahashi with the never say die attitude out wide that made it happen. It's Minami Munakata with the goal. I mean, talk about a difficult headed effort. She was going the wrong direction, the ball was almost going the wrong direction, and somehow she managed to get a glancing header on it that takes it in off the post. I don't think there was much that Regina van Eyck could have done about that, but in many ways a well-deserved and well-earned consolation against the German Giants, who now look to strike back as Ella Rauscher slices wide. What a moment for Minami Munakata. Something tells me the 23-year-old will be talking about that career highlight for a long time to come. And rightly so, I would too. This is a Bayern side that only conceded 36 goals in 42 games last season. 23 clean sheets. Porzi to Caruso. Dahlmann. Doesn't work out for Bayern in the end. Bayern won the Frauen Bundesliga by 16 points last season, and everyone's anticipating Wolfsburg not being as strong as they were in the previous campaign. Dahlmann. Runs herself into trouble. The difficulty from the Frauen Bundesliga's perspective is if Wolfsburg are to continue their decline. Eintracht Frankfurt have sold off a lot of their key players, so they might struggle to improve upon last season. If anything, Bayer Leverkusen are the team with the most stability, but they aren't really a side ready to truly challenge Bayern for the title. And as a result, many will feel that Bayern almost have their name written on the Frauen Bundesliga title before the season starts. Of course, in the DFB Pokal, anything is possible in one-off knockout matches. It's in the Women's Champions League that Bayern really see the most room for improvement. It's where they want to take the next step, and the next step after reaching the semi-finals for a third time in club history last season would be to reach the final of that competition and give themselves a chance at European silverware. Here we see the goal again. Lovely play by Takahashi, and really it is a case of hats off to Munakata for somehow making something of a very awkward headed effort, and look at what it means to them. This small, growing side from the outskirts of Tokyo taking on the giants of German football and getting a goal for their efforts. You love to see it. The only thing today was maybe missing was a goal from that woman just shown, Momoko Tanikawa. That would have capped it all off. That would have been the icing on what has been a pretty tasty cake, it has to be said, for the first pre-season game. Look how Bayern have now advanced their lines. Glodis no longer out on the pitch. It's Eriksson and Stina Balizaya. Both centre-backs were inside the Omiya half there as Balizaya picked out Naschenweng. Now with Porzi back to Naschenweng. Yeah, good role for Cassandra Porzi, actually, the deputy to Clara Buhl. What a wonderful player for Porzi to learn from as well. Here's Imade. Has earned the corner. Bayern's first goal came from a corner. Just over 10 minutes remaining in Saitama. Maybe another will come from this set-piece situation. Bayern don't travel back to Munich until Monday. From there, preparations will continue in earnest. Daumann's corner. Rauscher was forced to retreat, but did well under pressure. For Bayern, after losing the likes of Caroline Simon, Georgia Stanway, Marla Gross, three big personalities behind the scenes, there's an element of upheaval that they're going to have to cope with, both in the summer and at the start of the campaign. Porzi. Oh, she tried to dip into her bag of tricks. It would have been absolutely delightful had she pulled it off, but momentum was not on her side down by the byline. You can see plenty of Bayern kits on display as well at the NAC 5 stadium. Oh, Caruso. Lovely play to Porzi. Looked to squeeze the pass back to Caruso, but unable to do so. Franziska Kett, one of the few players that's been out on the pitch the entire time tonight. In fact, she's one of only two, if I'm not mistaken, along with Barbara Dunst. Everyone else has either been substituted or come off and come back on, which is the case for Alara and Balizaya. We have broken into the final 10 minutes of this game now. Bayern, for the most part, seeing this one out. I'm sure they wouldn't say no to a fourth goal if afforded the opportunity. At the same time, they certainly wouldn't want to give Red Bull Omiya another goal back to make things unnecessarily tense. A couple more changes for the home side. Another one between the sticks. Yuria Ito conceded 2 goals in the first half. Minami Imamura conceded 1 in the second, and now Sumire Nakamura gets the final few minutes of the game. as Ket wins the ball well for Bayern. She might have been one of the 2 players that's played every minute so far. She's still got the energy to move the ball forward. In the opinion of many, Franziska Ket was one of the biggest winners and breakthrough stars of last season for both club and country, where she became a mainstay for Germany and arguably one of the best fullbacks in the country. After a long spell on the sidelines with a nasty set of injuries, great to see her back, but even better to see her really finding new gears to hit her full potential. Fact is, she's still got plenty of years ahead of her to improve even further. Maybe not just become one of the best fullbacks in Germany, but in the world. She's got all the ability. Technical, physical, mental, you name it. A player that has versatility, but in every position she plays, she ticks all the boxes, it seems. Of course, you are joining us here on FC Bayern TV+, coverage of all of Bayern's pre-season friendlies for both the men and the women available. Delighted to have you along for what is the first. The men open their campaign later today against Wien Wiesbaden. So make sure to tune in again later for that. Bayern's women have made a winning start, and something tells me the men will want to as well, even if they are shorn of pretty much almost their whole first team due to World Cup commitments and recovery plans. Imade can't get there first. Of course, we've got a couple of live training sessions coming up on Bayern's various channels as well, which you can tune in for and take part in. Ultimately, Bayern's website is full of so much incredible tailor-made content. Interviews, backstories, you name it, they've got it. And without wanting to profess to be a psychic of any sort, something tells me that Jose Barcola will talk about being very pleased with the result, but the fact that there is room for improvement. But given the fact that this is the first friendly of the current pre-season, there were always going to be a few things to be ironed out. And here come Red Bull Omiya again. On that occasion, a disappointing delivery from the woman that sets up the first goal, Yuna Takahashi. She was looking for Amiro Tsuji, but the pass asked a little too much of the young striker who was born back in 2007. 19 years old, a Saitama native. Of course, the highlight act for Bayern's women in pre-season will be that first game at the Sportpark Unterhaching on August 9th against Paris FC, the French side. Tickets are on sale, so if you fancy not just listening to me on Bayern's coverage on FC Bayern TV Plus, then ultimately tickets will still be available and most of the renovations will hopefully be finished by then. First real test for the new ground as Bayern embark on a new era. They will move into the Sportpark Unterhaching by 2029, but this coming season it won't host the League or Cup games, but it will host Women's Champions League action and ultimately draw a crowd more befitting of Bayern's status in Europe nowadays. Well, that was a nice ball looking for the goal scorer. Munakata, though, on the stretch, couldn't bring the ball under her spell. Cross driven in, and Van Eyck had to react to the near post as Munakata again was providing the threat for the home side. No one really tracked the run. Franziska Kett was a little flat-footed in coping with the danger there, but in the end, Van Eyck grateful that Munakata didn't get a touch before she got her hands on the ball. A bit of a loose touch there from Malara in midfield. I tell you what, there's many elements of this game that have not been played like a pre-season friendly, and some of the challenges have definitely played a part in that. This has been a challenge for Bayern. They have not been coasting by any stretch of the imagination, and there's another shot that comes in. So as a result for Bayern, this has been a very valuable start to action out on the pitch in pre-season. Not just in training as Caruso. Oh, lovely nutmeg from Ariana Caruso. Ball to Imade now. We might again have a couple of minutes added on at the end of the 90 like we did at the end of the first half due to the hydration break. Bayern's women will next be in action on the 1st of August once they return to Munich. And it'll be an all-Bavarian affair against fellow Frauen Bundesliga team 1. FC Nürnberg. And then, of course, on the 9th of August, that game against Paris FC in Unterhaching. Bianca Rech has talked about looking forward to Bayern's new home, saying it's a clear signal that this club is fully behind the women's team. Hearing that there have been 4 minutes added on at the end of the 90. 1 minute has already ticked off the clock. And Bayern, with all these substitutions in the second half, some rolling, some fresh faces like Cassandra Portsees, there's an element where they have dropped out of top gear. Game management just as key under Jose Barkler as Rauscher feeds the run of Caruso. Oh, that looked like it could have been a handball. It's a penalty. Oh, where's Momoko Tanikawa when you needed to take a penalty? Oh, the arm's up. It's an unnatural position. It's off the elbow. Oh, surely Jose Barkala can make a substitution right now. Bring on Tanikawa. I don't think it's going to happen. It looks like Alara's going to be given the spot kick duties. A chance to cap off what has been a very successful first pre-season fixture ahead of the 26-27 campaign. Alara, after a season hard hit by a nasty knee injury, fully focused, looking to put the cherry on top. From the spot, bottom corner, keeper goes the wrong way. And Alara makes it 4-1 to Bayern inside Tama. The German Giants start as they mean to go on. Tucked away very nicely by Alara. And Bayern sign off with a sayonara inside Tama, courtesy of a well-taken spot kick that puts a bit more gloss on a very positive pre-season friendly. And a wonderful tour to Asia. The first time Bayern's women have toured this part of the world. It's been a rousing success on and off the pitch. This, the highlight act. And they were given a challenge by Red Bull Omiya, but they rose to that challenge in impressive fashion. Is there another goal here for the home side? There might be! Was not to be a second goal of this game for Red Bull Omiya, who gave a very good account of themselves against Bayern München. Bayern's Allianz Summer Tour ends with a 4-1 win in the first pre-season friendly ahead of the start of the 26-27 campaign, as the domestic double winners from Germany beat Red Bull Omiya Ardija 4-1 in Saitama. A star-studded affair for Jose Barkala and company, and a wonderful moment for the fans in attendance as they got to see their side take on some of the best players in European women's football, if not world football. And they had plenty to cheer about, including a goal for Omiya themselves. And now a show of respect to all those in attendance at the end of the game. This all part of the cultural experience that Bayern are enjoying in this tour of Asia, and what a tour it has been. It's produced highlights on the pitch tonight. It's produced highlights off the pitch in the last couple of days. They travel back to Munich on Monday, but they do so with the positive feeling of a 4-1 win. This is just the start of things to come in the 26-27 campaign for Jose Barkala and company. His second in charge. A couple of new faces on the Bayern books. We had a couple of debutants in the form of Zara Matner, Cassandra Porzi, Ella Rauscher. But ultimately, a result and a performance that feeds the positivity surrounding this side. They are the dominant force in German women's football, but that status still has to be defended. For Momoko Tanikawa, she had a moment at a highlight with a free kick early on in the second half, but couldn't get it up and over the wall. Otherwise, she was the string puller in midfield without having that stand-out highlight to talk about. Nevertheless, she got a wonderful ovation from the fans in attendance, both those of a Bayern disposition and those supporters of Red Bull Omiya. A big learning moment for the club as well. Maybe they can use what they've learned in a game against Bayern today to improve upon their 7th place finish from last season. For now, we'll hear from Glóris Vigórsdóttir.
Congratulations. What are your immediate thoughts after the game today?
I think it was a tough game against a good opponent. I think they defended well. I think the heat was a little bit difficult, to be honest. So second half was a little bit nicer to play. No, but we played against a really physical, good team. It was a really, really good first test for us. And it's incredible to get the opportunity to play here in Japan. Yeah, so I'm happy with the day.
はい、非常にタフなゲームでした。相手もすごい守備が良くて、大変な試合だったんですけれども、特に暑さですね。暑さも慣れるのに大変だったので、セカンドハーフは非常に良くなったかなというふうに思います。非常にフィジカルな、いいテストになったと思うので、我々の最初の試合にとっては良かったと思います。本当に日本に来れてこの試合ができて良かったです。
チームとしてどんな部分が良かったと思いますか
？What were the good points about your game today?
I think we had a lot of good possession parts of the game where we kept the ball well and we created good chances to score. As well, we had a few parts of the game where we make some easy mistakes and they get some counterattacks, especially in the first half. Yeah, but all in all, I think we played a good team. We got challenged, and this is exactly why we came and what we wanted.
はい、いいところで言ったらポゼッションの面では、非常にボールをキープできて良かったのかなというふうに思います。そういうところで、非常にいいチャンスを作れたと思いますが、逆にカウンターで相手にチャンスを与えてしまったのは、良くなかった部分かなと思いますが、全体的にそういった、いい面、改善点もあったので、こういう時のために、親善試合ができたと思うので、それは全体的に良かったと思います。
実際に対戦した RB 大宮 RDJ の印象を教えてください。
What are your immediate impressions about RB Omiya?
I think you could feel from the first moment that it's a Red Bull team. They have this typical counter pressing, the physicality. They run a lot for each other. Yeah, they have this power in them. And I think we didn't really know exactly what to expect. We had a little bit of video before the game, but I think they are a good team. And like I said, it was a really good first game for us. They challenged us in different ways than maybe what we're used to. So yeah, it was a very good first game for us.
はい、対戦して、それこそ本当にレッドブルのチームだなということが分かりました。カウンタープレスもして、お互いのためにファイトするようなチームだったので、そういった意味でも我々にとってもタフでした。繰り返しになりますが、こういった試合、経験できて本当に良かったですし、何か残せたかなというふうに思ってますので、非常に良かったと思います。
最後に新シーズンに向けてどのような準備をしていくか教えてください。
So from here, how do you plan on preparing for the new season?
I think we have a few more training weeks. We want to continue to improve as a team. We want to improve in our duels. We want to get even more comfortable under pressure, and I think that's why today was a perfect game, because it is a team that presses. So it was a good for us to get this practice, and yeah, we just want to use the next 3 weeks to get ready for a season where we want to do even better than we did last season. Yeah, I think for us it's just to use every single training session and enjoy it.
そうですね、残り3週間あるので、その中で、チームとしてどんどん良くなっていって、コンビネーションも作って、プレッシャーの中でも、しっかりポジションを持てる、ようなチームになっていきたいなというふうに思っています。3週間あるので、しっかりトレーニングしながらも、楽しんで、チームとして向上できればなというふうに思っています。
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to hear from the Bayern captain, Glodis Vigorstatich, on what was a good first step in pre-season. A 4-1 win against Red Bull Omiya. It was a delight to bring you coverage of this game here on FC Bayern TV+. Stay tuned for the rest of summer and pre-season for more action from the women and the men. For now, sayonara from Saitama.